So we got a very interesting feature announcement for 1.20 yesterday in the form of armor trims. There are now over 2,000 separate ways to customize your armor by adding minerals and trim patterns to them, and this is incredibly interesting before talking about the enchantment changes, before talking about the new way you get netherite, but also something you might not have known about this update is they've added 2 brand new uses for diamonds. Diamonds have been sitting mostly unusable for most things in Minecraft till just now, but they've added 2 brand new uses in this update, one of which is of course making amazing looking armor, and the second of which is much less widely known about because did you know you can actually craft the brand new trim patterns? That's right, all of these trim patterns are found in the wild, but they do actually have a crafting recipe that also applies to the netherite upgrade. This is one of the hardest struggles a lot of people have regarding 1.20. Getting a smithing template to upgrade to netherite now makes it harder to make anything in that gear, but they've made it so you can actually craft these if you want to, and that is a recipe that is very intensive in diamonds. Also, are you curious what happens if you wear netherite armor with a gold trim, whether piglins will maybe ignore you or not? Those are the questions I wanted to answer in today's video because there is so much going on with this update, but first things first, I love that they made this an exploration focused update, and you might think that because you can craft armors, there's no reason to go and get the trims physically, but you are going to need to go to each of these structures once: Pillager Outpost, Desert Pyramid, Shipwreck, Jungle Temple, Ocean Monument, Ancient City, Woodland Mansion, Nether Fortress, Bastion Remnants, Stronghold, and End City. Every single one of these places you will still want to visit to get the trim at least once. So you go to your Woodland Mansion and you get your Woodland Mansion trim at least once. And the reason you need to do this is because there is a recipe for creating new smithing templates, or a recipe for creating new wild armor trims. However, here is the catch. You need to already have one of these recipes to make it. Basically, you can duplicate existing recipes by using a crafting table grid that looks something like this. So this is the wild update trim, wild armor trim, sorry. You know, it's the wild update trim though, sure, why not? And if you put that plus a relevant block, so this is from the Jungle Temple, so it's a mossy cobblestone, and 7 diamonds together in the table, you will then be able to get 2 of them because one of these smithing templates is duplicated using the 7 diamonds. 7 diamonds to make a single smithing template. Bear in mind, if you want to get a full set of armor for the same gear, you're going to need 21 diamonds. It is a very, very steep price to pay, of course, but getting 2 of them for the price of 1 is great, and the fact that you can also do this with the smithing template to upgrade for netherite is also pretty darn great. So if you want to upgrade diamond tools into netherite and you don't want to keep searching for bastions, which is going to be very hard for people, what you can do instead is you can use 7 diamonds plus say the 8 diamonds for your diamond chestplate, and then boom, now for just 15 diamonds you can have a netherite chestplate, which is very expensive you might say, but it's also the price you've got to pay. However, here is the interesting catch on this one. It sounds like a very, very expensive thing, but ultimately this is something Minecraft is doing deliberately because again, diamonds have been useful in Minecraft. After you have a decent village where you trade for, there are only 3 things you can functionally use them for. You can make enchantment tables, you can make jukeboxes, and you can make diamond blocks. This is something Minecraft developers have been trying to solve for a while. What can you do to make things more useful? And the answer they came up with was fireworks. Okay. The answer they came up with was actually this, of course, and I think this is pretty smart because first things first, you can trim your armor. This seems like using diamonds on it seems excessive, but let me just show you the inspiration for the trimmed armor because did you know that if you look at one of the characters from the Order of the Stone, I always forget his name, but I think it's Anthony, but you know, if you look at this character right here, you'll see that, wow, what is that? It's Gabriel. Gabriel looks exactly like me. He trimmed his netherite armor with diamond, and I think it's crazy that he had netherite armor with clearly a diamond trim, despite the fact that when Minecraft Story Mode came out, neither of those ideas were even in development. So I'm just saying, Minecraft Story Mode apparently ahead of the time. But the other thing that's worth mentioning is that, yeah, putting diamond on armor is not necessarily silly, but also if you have enough diamonds, getting multiple trims might actually be a really good idea. If you really, really, really like the Woodland Mansion trim, but you don't want to travel to another one, take your Woodland Mansion trim and go into, because by the way, every single smithing template has its own recipe. I can show you them all very briefly right now. Most of them are quite simple, but yeah, if you look through here, you'll see that, like, okay, the one for the smithing template is using, or actually the rib armor uses netherite as well, netherrack as well. For the Vex armor trim, it's cobblestone. For the ward armor, it's cobbled deep slate. For the coast armor, it's cobblestone. They're all basic blocks. They're nothing too special besides the purple block maybe, but they're all deliberately designed to be relatively obtainable building blocks in the world. I quite like that, but I could also say that, like, if you're adding 7 diamonds in there anyway, should couldn't you make some of them more challenging than others? Or maybe that is defeating the point and just the sandstone is there to make it happen. How do you feel about that? I feel as though it is a really cool way to use diamonds, but it has a bit of a weird feel. I don't know what I would change necessarily. I think, for instance, the smithing template, if it's meant to be hard to get, it shouldn't be a netherrack. It should be a netherite scrap or an ancient debris or, something like that, something a little bit more challenging to really make you work for your netherite, if that is the goal, to make, diamond last longer and netherite be more of an upgrade. But yeah, the other thing that's worth mentioning is that if they are changing, because, here's the deal, right? There are now a bunch of new ways to trim armor. Let me show you. Here's a lovely diamond chestplate, right? Except it's not a lovely diamond chestplate anymore. It's a diamond chestplate with blue on it. I do have to say, I think blue is, by the way, the ugliest thing you can put on diamond. But the other interesting thing is you can't trim tool. So again, if we move one last thing before we move into suggestions, did you know that you can trim your armor with gold on if you really want to? So we'd actually take this very same thing out and say, actually, yeah, let's upgrade my diamond chestplate using this and a little bit of gold, and let's see if it looks any amount nicer. I think it personally does. But what happens if you wear gold-plated armor in the Nether? The answer, sadly, is that even if you put on this gold armor on netherite or on diamond, they do not care in the slightest. They will still come right after you. I think it's a little crazy personally. I mean, obviously, they're attracted to gold, but they're not attracted to gold trim. They only like all gold or no gold, which seems a little silly because just wearing single gold boots would be enough, but wearing gold trim and all your armor isn't. I think on a thematic level, this doesn't make any sense, but on a game balance level, they want to still give you a reason to wear gold. They're not trying to buff netherite even more by saying, put some gold on your netherite and it'll be great. And even if they did do that, they'd be limiting the trims you could actually wear, because now you'd start trimming your armor exclusively using gold, or at least you'd make sure you had a piece of gold on there, whereas the goal is to make a brand new customization system. Indeed, this whole update really does seem to be, if I take a look at it, I'd say this whole update is about customization. In the same way when we got fireworks, you can make these cool fireworks in the sky, and when we got leather armor dyeing, you could officially, wow, I can put leather armor on, and you can dye in the crafting table in Java, right? Well, apparently not. But the idea of being able to just dye your armor and have different colors was really, really crazy to a lot of people. And so in that same way, maybe you just have to use blue dye. Okay, let's find out. If we put some blue dye, does it go straight on the armor on Java? It does. So being able to make blue armor was an incredibly cool idea. Wow, you can have armor that's any color you want it to be. And so now they're bringing that level of customization to everything else. I would say a part of me wants to see, trimmed leather armor, because then you'd be able to make any color combination. Another part of me says that the gold armor should work in the Nether to protect you from piglins, but also I think they're trying to make this as cosmetic as possible. In the same way in RuneScape, you might have someone offering you free armor trimming, and you might think, wow, that must be a real good deal, because, that's actually ridiculous. Sorry, I just have to keep making the old school RuneScape references. I never understood how armor trimming worked back then. In modern Minecraft, everyone should have a decent understanding, but even if they don't, I think it works out quite well. If you have no clue what you're looking at when you see this really cool looking emerald trim to someone's armor, you're going to say, whoa, how did you do that? And it's going to inspire that sort of conversation, which I think is what Minecraft is going for here. This whole update is not about bringing the game to a whole nother level, adding 17 new mobs and free structures and everything else. This whole update seems to be about more minor changes to Minecraft to make the game more playable in different ways. And so far that has led to a few disappointments, I think. People want big and exciting and amazing, and we're getting two mobs that are very big, but are they very exciting? There's a lot of things in this update that make people go, oh, that's cool, and then not making them want to maybe get too excited about it otherwise. But I think it will lead to the best playing experience after the update comes out. The question that I think comes from that is that the best way to do an update? I don't actually know the answer, but I do know I've got two very clear requests. One is the fact that they need to add trimming to tools. I say they need to. For my purpose, they need to, because if you have two netherite pickaxes and they're both enchanted, how can you tell them apart? If one of them has silk touch and one of them has fortune, you just have to read over and be like, this is my efficiency, this is my non-efficiency. Whereas what could be way better is if you could trim these tools. You can't do that right now. The only trim you can use is the netherite upgrade, but you can't use the netherite upgrade on netherite. Being able to actually trim these tools, put something else on there, would be really, really cool. So you can know which of your swords has fire aspect. You could put a red trim on there for that person. personally I think you could do, and you could put a different trim on there for sharpness. Being able to customize your gear would be actually really useful, and so in the theme of customization, I think at the bare minimum, pickaxes and swords, which have multiple trims, and maybe even bows as well, would really, really benefit from this, or at the very least, a reworking of the way the enchantment system works, so you can see those enchantments, because again, I think having armor go separate colors for different enchantments theoretically is useful, but in reality, everyone just has protection 5. There isn't a protection 4, sorry. There isn't much of a decision being made of armor, but there are decisions being made on pickaxes, there are decisions being made on swords, and so maybe, you know, like a smite sword could be, it could have a netherite ingot, a different sword could do something else. I think there's some really fun ideas in there that they should maybe consider exploring. Also, I don't know, haven't thought to do this till just now, but if you put netherite trim on your diamond, are you a ridiculous person? I mean, you are a ridiculous person. It doesn't even look very good in my opinion. What do you reckon? Would you trim your diamond armor with netherite? But yeah, there's one other thing that's very crucial to know. Right now, if you're playing Minecraft and you've got a long-term survival world, you should be upgrading as many things to netherite as you can, because it will cost you 7 diamonds in the future. Which again, let's be honest, most people, this is how most people live. They have houses like this. Most people have so many diamonds that will you even notice 7 going missing? The answer is probably not too many, I guess, if you've been playing for a while. But if you don't have a lot of diamonds, or you even just have a lot of diamonds, but you'd rather use them for diamond blocks or jukeboxes or enchantment tables or wasteful fireworks, then in those cases, I would say 100% right now is the time. Make yourself some netherite. You've got a few months till the update comes out, of course, but still, there's a few things that will be a lot easier before this update than after it, and I'll update you before the update comes out, of course, but right now, this is the biggest contender, I personally think. But speaking of big contenders, yeah, this update is shaping up to be a good one. I think this was a really cool change, and also the fact that they didn't announce this at all is something that is, you know, it's an interesting trial for a model. Was this better for your excitement for the update, to just see it for the first time as it was available, or do you think you would have preferred hearing about this at Minecraft Live and having thought about the idea for 3 months before it finally comes out now? We're going to find out this for more features in this update. There are connecting features to tie the rest of this in, and I'm looking forward to letting you know about all of those as they come out. But for now, I've been AbbyXToyCat. I hope you all enjoyed the video, because I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. I don't look like the story mode guy anymore. I'm just a guy who is poorly dressed again. But ultimately, aren't we all just poorly dressed? Yeah, in a way. Oh, also, one other thing. Okay, I wanted to do this because it's satisfying. I mentioned this in my recent podcast about path dependency, but isn't it weird that some of these fences have water sources and some of them don't? And then if we go through with a sponge, we can make that even more confusing. But the water is filling through, you know, it's all very confusing, okay? I don't understand any of what I'm looking at right now, but I hope you will enjoy the video regardless. Because, why aren't these ones flowing? Why did all of those flow back, but these ones... Anyway, have a good day, because I'll see you next time. Goodbye.